tonight. The Jasper Wildcats will take on the New Albany Bulldogs. And the Wildcats with a 7-1 record, taking on a Bulldog team that stands at 7-3. Hello, everybody. I'm Craig Schneider, and Jason Stamm will be also joining the action tonight as we bring this Wildcat baseball game. Of course, the Wildcats with a 7-0 start, and they suffered their first loss last night against the Castle Knights 9-3, and taking on an always good New Albany Bulldog baseball team. So we will be back right after this with the starting lineups here on 18 WJTS. We are back once again here at Alvin C. Ruxer Field as the kids run off the field. It's Jasper Youth Baseball tonight here. Usually have one night a season where we start things off, the kickoff of the Jasper Youth Baseball season. And we'll have Jason Stamm up here shortly. He's actually the president of Jasper Youth Baseball, and both of us serve as board members here. But again, it's baseball for the Jasper Wildcats tonight. The Wildcats at 7-1, taking on the Bulldogs of New Albany at 7-3. So we'll take a look at the Bulldogs starting lineup. They'll have Tucker Bevan playing shortstop. He's number 3. Second spot is Cooper Bevan, number 1. He will play second base. Cody Medley is the third baseman, and he wears number 12. Number 11, Stephen Tom, will be in the cleanup spot, and he will pitch tonight for the Bulldogs. He is actually 1-1 on the season. Dylan Clark will play right field. Caden Elliott will be at first base, number 13. In the 8th spot is Nemish Patel, who will DH for the right field. I'm sorry, actually left fielder. It's Garrett Jones playing left field tonight. Owen Tansky is the center fielder in the 8th spot, and in the 9th spot, Christian Cyphers behind the plate, number 4. And the Wildcats are set up defensively. Of course, on the mound tonight is Carter Stamm, number 5. Catching is number 10, Ross Peter. Over at first base is Trevor Croft, number 27. Grant Albrand at second base, number 2. Shortstop is Josh Weidenbender in his familiar spot there. And number 18 is the third baseman. That's Andrew Wallace. And the outfielder, left to right, number 4, Isaac Bartley, and left center fielder will be Eli Hope tonight. And in right field, number 8, Jacob Albrand. So Stamm will step to the mound. He's done an outstanding job so far this season from the mound. Obviously, overall in the season, coming up with clutch hitting as well. So he will be in the cleanup spot for the Wildcats tonight. Actually, check out, he's in the 5th spot. Andrew Wallace will be in the cleanup spot, but we'll cover the Wildcats starting lineup when they come to the plate. So, first 3 up will be Tucker Bevan, Cooper Bevan, and Cody Medley. So, Bevan, the shortstop for the New Albany Bulldogs, as the father of Carter Stamm is making his way to put the headphones on there. And, Jason, I'll tell you what, that's a lot of work getting those kids organized.
Yeah, I told somebody out there it's like herding cats when you got to get them off the field like that in a hurry. But
yeah, we try to gather everybody out there for the national anthem, and we're actually having a little bit of trouble there. So I said, give me that microphone, I'll do it.
I noticed that. Somebody said, who's singing the national anthem? I said, that's Craig.
All right, so a ground out. Oh, actually, Trevor's not able to handle it there, but a little stumble. Bevan, and they try to throw back to first, so I guess we'll have to give somebody an error on that play.
Yeah, it would have to be on the throw, I believe.
Right.
The ball was in the dirt a little bit. Wasn't real bad. Trev tried to make a scoop over there and couldn't come up with it. But
so we'll record the first error of the night tonight.
Looks like Bivens might have hurt an ankle or a knee trying to make the turn and go. He was lucky to get back after the return throw. Catcher did a good job. Peter was down there and backed it up.
Right.
If he makes a good throw, I think he had him, but
yeah, a lot of times you rush in that situation where it's like,
you know, and you're running all the way down there and you got to pick the ball up, be under control and make a good throw. But
all right, so New Albany gets their first runner on base. No outs just yet as Carter Stamm will face the second batter, and that's Cooper Bevan.
Yeah, they're brothers. The first one on first is a freshman, and I believe the batter's a junior.
And first pitch is there for a strike. So talk about Carter on the mound so far this year.
Well, so far, I mean, he's done a decent job. Pitched against Shakamak, I believe, and then he came back against Bloomington South a little bit, and then close the game against Memorial. He's done a decent job. You know, I have coached him, you know, his whole life and have told him, you know, you've got to throw strikes.
Right.
And, you know, fortunately he's done a pretty decent job of that so far this year, and just that's all you can hope that it continues. So we'll see.
He threw 2 strikes on the first 2 pitches. That one's a little inside for ball 1 ball, 2 strikes.
These high school teams, and you know, he and I talk about it at home a lot, that, you know, obviously the first.
He actually said he went there.
Said
so
he went around, but.
Yeah, so Bevan doesn't agree, but he will have to slowly walk back to the dugout there.
We talk a lot about, you know, and I know the coaching staff does too, but, you know, in high school you always have your top 3 or 4 guys are good hitters, and after that, you know, it drops off quite a bit. And last night at Castle, it was the same way. I mean, Castle's top 4 hitters were really good, and, you know, after that it dropped off considerably. But those were the guys last night that did all the damage. You know what I mean? First five guys in the game, I think, hit seeds. You know, the first one hit it out, and then the next 3 were like BBs all over the park, and you know, that in high school baseball, that's what you're going to see at the top of the lineups.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's the thing. The Wildcats with their first loss last night against the Castle Knights on the road. But 7-1 on the season with a 7-0 start. Knocking off Pike Central earlier this week.
Yeah, and that was, you know, that game was a little misleading and so forth. You know, it ended up 6-4, but it really wasn't that close of a game. But, you know, it's, you know, they have to take things away from those kind of games too, and learn that you have to come mentally prepared to play, you know, no matter who you're playing against, whether it's a New Albany, a Castle, or a Pike Central.
Right.
You know, and in baseball, that's very important because, you know, like any other sport, momentum is a big thing, and that's what, you know, that last night, that was huge with Castle, you know, scoring 4 in the first.
Right.
It's really tough to come back from that, you know, so.
Well, Carter records his 2nd strikeout of the inning, so a good start for him as he gets Cody Medley on a swing and a miss there. So 2 outs right now. Runner still on first base is Tucker Bevan, as Stephen Tom, the pitcher for the Bulldogs, steps to the plate.
You know, and this is a perfect instance here, you know, where as a coach and in baseball, where, you know, right now this inning should be over.
Right.
You know, and that's what coaches harp about, and I know Coach Gobert's big on, you know, give the other team 3 outs and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, from now on, that was the first one. This is the second one. You know, luckily it's 2 extra pitches he had to make, but sometimes that's a lot worse.
Oh, so. Yeah, and especially early on in the ball game, you know, they want to keep that momentum going. So the Wildcats hold New Albany scoreless after 1. No score on the board. You're watching the Wildcats here on 18 WJTS. Once again here at Alvin C. Rooksor Field, set for the bottom of the first inning. We'll take a look at the Wildcat lineup tonight with Josh Weidenbender leading things off. Grant Albrand will bat second. Trevor Croft in the 3rd spot. Andrew Wallace will be our cleanup hitter tonight. Carter Stom batting 5th. Jacob Albrand, right fielder. Isaac Bartley. And Jade Yoakum will be the DH for Ross Peter tonight. And in the 9th spot is center fielder Eli Hope. And taking a look at the Bulldogs defensively, their pitcher is Stephen Tom. The catcher is number 4, Christian Cyphers. Number 13 at first is Caden Elliott. Second base is Cooper Biven. Shortstop is number 3, Tucker Biven. And at third base is Cody Medley, as the first pitch is high there to Weidenbender. Left to right, we've got the left fielder is Garrett Jones. Center fielder is number 15, Owen Tanksley. And right fielder is number 10, Dylan Clark. As we got a 2-0 count to the leadoff hitter, Weidenbender. So how's Josh been doing at that leadoff spot this year?
Why did you know I don't know. You know, I'm not big into averages. You know, you can just watch and tell whether they're hitting the ball well or not.
Mm-hmm.
He at times he does. You know, I think his, you know, and I'm sure he'd be the first one that would tell you that his strikeout is up a little bit higher this year than what it has been in the past.
Okay.
So, he's struggling with that part of it a little bit, but he does a good job of getting on base for Jasper. And obviously, like we talked earlier, baseball's a game of momentum, and you get that leadoff guy on, and good things happen a lot of times.
Sure.
So, Josh gets in there, he battles. I mean, here he's got the count 2-2, and he's not going to be an easy out. And the thing, too, is, you got a left-handed pitcher now against a left-handed hitter. Our first two hitters are left-handed, and in high school you don't see a lot of left-handed pitchers.
Right.
It just doesn't happen that often. So it's a different look for these guys.
So roll over there to third base, and the throw over to first gets Weidman for the first out there, and then, like you said, another left-handed hitter coming right up right here with Allbrand stepping in.
These two, Grant and Josh, last year, I felt like when they were at their best hitting, they stayed in there and hit the ball to left field. They were a lot of opposite field hits, and I felt like that was when they did their best hitting, is when they tried to do that, and not tried to do too much and yank the ball or things like that. And this year they've done it somewhat, but they've kind of not done it as much as what you'd like to see.
Right. Well, Tom looks like he's having a little bit of control problem with that curveball so far, but throws the fastball there and misses outside, so 2-0 on the hitter Allbrand. And that's the thing. I mean, you talk about the key of getting guys on base and just getting those opportunities. I mean, we've had our share of one-run games, close ones. Shakamak 1-0, and Rice was 3-2. Memorial was a 3-2 ball game.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we've battled, we've competed, and I know last night down at Castle that was one of the things that Coach Gobert kept on them. When we were down 4-0, 8-1, 7-1, whatever it was, and he kept telling them, you got to compete, you got to battle, you got to fight. You can't. You just got to keep after it.
Right.
And they did somewhat last night, but.
All right, so Tom hits the outside corner there for strike 3 on Allbrand, so he'll sit down. So stepping up now, Trevor Croft.
We got to get Trevor going. He's, he at times he's been putting the ball in play, but he at times, I mean, when he hits it, he can hit it hard.
Right.
He can hit it a long way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's struggling, but he's not. I guarantee if you ask him, that's what he would tell you.
Sure.
Because he's not doing the things that he's used to doing. So I mean, we got to get him going. We're still searching for some protection behind him, so the teams don't pitch around him. This year there have been some teams that have done that.
Right.
They'll put him on, or they'll.
That's what I'm wondering what's going on right now. He's faces a 3-0.
Yeah, and that's all possible. He may get a walk out of this, but it's one of them, what they call them, an intentional, non-intentional walk. With their 3-0, that's got to be a pitch that you drive in the gap. You can't flare it off to right field like that. So.
Right. All right, so no runs, no hits, no errors for the Wildcats. Nobody left, and we've got no score at the end of 1 here on 18 WJTS. All right, set to start the second inning. No score so far here at Alvin C. Ruxer Field. Craig Schneider and Jason Stamm bringing it to you as Kurt Guxel is calling a game on the radio tonight on WBDC. So 18 WJTS bringing you the action of the Wildcats on a beautiful, beautiful Friday night. We had a little bit of rain this morning, but didn't affect the field or anything as far as conditions.
No, this place is, phenomenal high school baseball field. And, these kids, Jasper kids, don't realize how lucky they are to have a facility like this. You travel to some of these places and you think, man, you see how lucky you really are.
Oh, no question.
So
Dylan Clark steps in. He's already facing a 0-1, now 1-1 count. Carter with a pitch just outside there. Dylan Clark, the right fielder, number 10, good-sized kid. Been in that number 5 spot for the Bulldogs. And he slices one foul there. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. So you're talking about Carter focusing on throwing strikes and all that, and throws an off-speed pitch there, and Now Weidenmanner with the play and throws a little bit low, and again it gets past Croft. So that was a little tougher play. It was a little bit slower there, but still an opportunity to get him there.
Yeah, that's that's one of them plays. I guarantee you, Josh would tell you, he needs to make that. I mean, he did the hard part. He got there and got to the ball, and he's just struggling a little bit with his throwing tonight. Both of them that he's thrown, have been short and in the dirt. And he'll be all right. He'll make the next one. So.
Well, I marked it down as an error, but the scoreboard's saying a hit, so I guess I got to use my eraser there.
I can't give that a hit. I'm sorry.
I'm not the official scorer, though.
I think he's changing it.
Oh, he is?
I think so, because it looked like they were giving him a hard time.
No, so far not the case. So actually there's a pitch down the middle, not able to catch up is Caden Elliott, number 13, the first baseman for this New Albany team. Stom looks the runner over there, brings it, and said he went this time too. So umpires kind of giving the pitcher the benefit so far, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
So no balls, 2 strikes.
Beasley's pretty good back there. I mean, I've been around him quite a bit with different things, and he does a pretty good job.
And you've been around the game your whole life, and I mean, I'm just an observer of the ball game. But how do you work on with a pitcher on that throw over to first base?
It's just basically, obviously they have to take a little pride in that. They have to say, I don't, in high school, a lot of times base runners steal second base off the pitcher. The catcher doesn't even have a chance.
Right.
So obviously, as a pitcher, it's your responsibility to try and hold that guy as close as what you can and give your catcher a shot to throw him out. It's a thing where a lot of it is quick feet.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have quick feet, and you have to have the ability to throw the ball over there without. I mean, you're basically throwing that blind.
Right.
You know where it's at, but you're not looking at it.
So double play opportunity there. So second to first, and the Cats pull it off. So good job there by Albany with the 4-6-3 double play, going to Weidenmanner over to Trevor Croft, so 2 away. But, yeah, going back to that, you think about it, Jason, a lot of these kids go straight through Little League. You never have to worry about that. Now, all of a sudden, you're playing Babe Ruth or Cub baseball, and you're 13 years old. That's when you're first learning it. And then, 2 or 3 years later, you're playing varsity ball.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of it takes a lot of practice to get good at that, and like you said, a lot of them don't get introduced to it till you're 13 years old.
Right.
And now I know with travel ball, a lot of people have different opinions on travel ball, but that's one thing with travel ball that they do. They start that a lot earlier.
About what age though?
Oh, they'll start that at about 9.
9, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where they'll lead off and they can steal in about 9-year-olds.
Okay.
Now, some different tournaments that you play in, they have different rules as to how that works. But for the most part, it's real baseball.
Okay. Actually, Carter gets him to swing at that one. So now with a 2-2 count on the hitter, number 6, Nemish Patel, DHing for Garrett Jones tonight. And Carter brings it right to him and gets him to swing and miss. So a good job for the Wildcats. Not necessarily 1, 2, 3, but when you get the double play, they only face 3 hitters there. So no runs, no hits, 1. Well, I guess we got to give 1 hit. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left. It's still no score here at Alvin C. Rooksor Field on 18 WJTS. Wildcats will step up to the plate. Here at the bottom half of the second inning, Andrew Wallace will lead things off. So due up is Wallace, Carter Stom, the pitcher, and Jacob Albrand, the right fielder. So Andrew Wallace, good-sized kid for the Wildcats, just a sophomore.
Andrew's been swinging the bat well here in the last week. He's a sophomore, so he's getting his first look at varsity baseball, varsity pitching, and I tell you, he's hung in there and he's done a very good job. I mean, he's definitely going to have his work cut out here. He's facing a senior left-handed pitcher. He's a left-handed hitter, so he's got his work cut out for him here tonight. But Andrew's a good, tough kid. He'll stick his nose in there.
So far, so good with a 2-0 count. And it seems like that's kind of the case with a lot of kids these days. They're trying to start off being left-handed hitters instead of right-handed hitters.
Yeah, you know, back when I played and you played, you know, it was if you threw right-handed, you batted right-handed.
Right.
You know, and nowadays a lot of dads, you know, think that little Johnny's going to go to the show and have that opportunity, so they think the best way to do that is to throw right-handed and bat left-handed.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the thing is, of course, anytime we played wiffle ball, we always had to hit left-handed, though, right?
Yeah.
We were playing in the backyard or wherever.
Or tennis ball or any of that stuff you did.
All right, so Tom brings the pitch to now at the plate Carter Stom. So Stom's got one out there for him. Of course, as the pitcher tonight, anything he does offensively is only helping himself. No balls, one strike. And he actually lays one down there to advance the runner. And Carter showing some wheels there, and he doesn't even make a play. So Carter, give him credit for a base hit there, right?
Yeah, I guess so. It was.
He had a beat out there.
It ended up. The bunt was a good bunt, but the effort or the execution, I wouldn't say was real good.
Yeah.
But he got lucky. It stayed fair and got down the line. And I mean, in that situation right there, you know, you're not bunting for a hit. You're bunting to move the runner to second. If you get out, so what? So there we ended up with, you know, the best of both worlds. You know, we moved the runner, but we also got runner on. So
Jacob Allbrand steps in with 2 runners on. So great opportunity for the Wildcats here with no outs as he takes ball 1.
Here's where we struggled last night a little bit, Craig. We'd get some runners on, and then we couldn't. We'd get a strikeout and then a pop out, and then, you know, we never could put things together.
All right, so that pitch is inside on Allbrand. But the other thing, going back to that bunt there, you know, again, we don't have the dirt base paths between.
Yeah, that's something new that they did up here this year. They actually did it in the fall of the year last year. They filled those in with grass, and that probably helped that ball. You know, sometimes when it gets in that dirt, it can roll a little bit easier than it does on grass.
Right. So Stephen Tom with a nice pitch there for strike 1. 2 balls, 1 strike. And a nice slice up the middle, and I think that's going to drop. Yes, it is. So Allbrand, however, the lead runner, Andrew Wallace, had to kind of wait and see what happened there. And I guess Gobert's giving him a little coaching on the bases over there.
He is. You know, again, you know, you're looking at a sophomore, so he hasn't had, you know, the opportunities to be out there on a ball like that. So, you know, it's a good teaching moment for him. You know, as a coach, you hate to see it, but, you know, hopefully that's the last time he ever has to tell him that.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully he can learn from that mistake and not ever make it again.
All right, so first pitch is high there. So stepping up now, Isaac Bartley, he's gone long this year, hasn't he?
Isaac did. Isaac hit the ball real well up at Bloomington South. Hit a home run up there. I'm not sure. I would venture to say that might have been his first high school or varsity home run anyways.
He slices that one foul.
He does a good job. I mean, Isaac's a great kid. You know him from football. He's a competitor. He gets in there and battles. You know, last night things didn't go his way down there at Castle on the mound, but he didn't hang his head. He went out there and he kept fighting and working and doing the best he could. And you know, that's just the kind of kid Isaac is. And you know, that's what, for the most part, you know, kids from Jasper are that way. You know, they go out there and they work hard, and that's kind of what, you know, Jasper athletes are known for.
Right.
You know, whatever sport it is. Tennis, you know, I know Coach Yarborough.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's got kids that go in there and they battle their butts off in tennis, you know, and I know they have a lot of success. You know, yeah, they're good, but sometimes they may not be the best, but they win because they work so hard.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, Coach Gobert, one of his favorite stories that, you know, and I think he mentioned this at our Little League banquet that we had the other week, that, you know, a lot of these teams, we go and we get off the bus, you know, see, I'll get back to that story, but here's a perfect example of what kills us. You know, that ball right there, and that was a tough pitch, but you need that ball in play somehow, somewhere, to make them make a play.
Right.
You know, when you strike out, nobody has to do anything but the catcher catch the ball.
Yeah, especially striking out looking in a situation
you know,
like that.
With no outs and the bases loaded, you really want something in play there.
All right, so Jade Yoakum, number 3, the DH, takes ball 1 there. And, the other thing, too, being selective as far as the pitches that you're going to take, because, again, a walk's a run right now.
That's correct. That's correct. So,
But yeah, you got to be aggressive, too.
Jade had a nice base hit last night. Jade was a young man that last year didn't play. He was doing something with school that he just couldn't get here to play baseball, so he didn't play. And this year he decided he wanted to come back out. And, here he is. He's getting some opportunities. The young man can hit. There's no doubt. So hopefully he can do something here and get it in play.
He foul tipped one right there. So 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. And bases loaded here. So Stephen Tom trying to work his way through the bottom of the Wildcat lineup here. But again, a great opportunity for the Wildcats to put some runs on the board here.
And in a spot like this, you got a senior pitcher out there. He's not rattled. He knows. So he knows he's at the bottom of the lineup. He knows he can get out of this. And that's where, you got to get in there and you got to battle. You got to fight. Now we're 1 out away from being out of the inning.
Absolutely.
And that's where kids like this on the mound can be detrimental to you because they know how to pitch and they know when they need to bear down a little bit.
Right. So he's doing the job with 2 strikeouts looking as Eli Hope fouls one off.
Sometimes you'll see a situation here where, he got the hard 2 outs, and then sometimes pitchers will let up here, and this guy will get a hit with 2 outs.
Yeah.
But, I guarantee he knows he's at the number 9 spot right now, and he's just going to make extra special pitches. He's going to hit corners with it, and that's what he did against Isaac and Jade. Both of them, he threw a fastball in the inside corner, and in high school baseball as a pitcher, if you can move the ball around on the corners, you're not going to get hurt just too awful bad.
All right, so that pitch is in the dirt right there. So 2 balls, 1 strike on Eli Hope. When you're talking about as far as the Wildcats not facing many left-handers and, situation right here.
Oh, there's a big help.
Did they call him a balk?
They called a balk on the pitcher.
Thought I heard that.
I don't know for sure what he did, but if I'm guessing, he didn't come to a stop. He came set and
just brought the delivery too soon.
In baseball, with runners on base, when the pitcher comes out of the stretch like that, he has to pause. When he puts the ball in his glove, he has to pause, and I don't think I think that's what the umpire called him for. They're not doing that. So that was a big help. Yeah, that might be the only way we get a run in.
Yeah. Actually, swing and miss there. So Eli Hope chasing a high pitch. Looked like it was a little bit out of the strike zone. So now 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs.
And Eli's another young one.
And swings and misses there. So Cats do get one across the board, but it wasn't easy as 3 straight strikeouts by Stephen Tom finishes this inning. So the Wildcats with 1 run. 1 run, 1 hit. 2 hits, I'm sorry. We got the bunt hit there. And no errors and 2 runners left. So after 2 innings of play, Jasper 1, New Albany nothing here on 18 WJTS. Number 15, Owen Tansky, the center fielder for the Bulldogs, will lead off the 3rd inning for New Albany, trailing the Wildcats 1-0. A couple corrections on the scoreboard where actually Jason and I think, wound up being the official scorer on that one hit that was actually should have been recorded as an error. So Carter's still got a no-hitter going right now, but also question on the balk, whether that's an error or not, but I think we kind of came up with it as an error, right?
That's one thing that I don't know in baseball, if that's going to be a tough play.
Yeah, so Grant comes over and makes the play, so you got to bare hand that one, don't you?
Yep. Grant made a nice play. That's the 2nd play like that he's made this year. He does a good job of charging the ball hard, and he realizes basically that's a do or die play. You're either going to pick it up and throw it and get him, or you're not. I know that sounds
that's
silly,
all you have time to do, really.
But that's they work on those in practice all the time, and that's what you got to do. You got to charge hard, try to get it, and he did.
All right, so Christian Cyphers, the catcher, steps up, and he chops one foul there. again, a just absolutely gorgeous night on Jasper Youth Baseball night. And, that's the thing. I mean, Little League's pretty well shut down tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We don't allow them to practice. We don't allow them to play. We don't do anything tonight. All they're supposed to do tonight is come up here and watch
enjoy baseball,
high school baseball, and have fun. I know Coach Gobert and Carolyn Gobert, who runs the concession stand, love tonight on the concessions.
Oh, yeah.
They sell a lot of candy tonight.
Yeah, they will.
But it's a great opportunity, and I want to thank Coach Gobert for allowing the youth baseball program to do that. And he wouldn't have to. He enjoys it. He likes it. So every year we get that opportunity to do that, and it's a pleasure that to do it and to have fun with it. It's a fun night.
Yeah, it absolutely is, because, again, the kids get to go out and select the position I guess they want to go to out there, don't they?
Yeah, they get to make the tunnel for the high school boys to run through, and then before the national anthem they get to run out to their favorite position or player or whatever they want to call it, and stand with that particular player for the national anthem, and then it's like herding little cats to get them off the field so that we can get the game started. And
that's your job.
Yeah.
So Carter, 1 and 2. Ahead of the hitter. Cyphers fouls one off there. So, kind of in this situation, I mean, Carter's pitches, what he's able to do there, but when he gets ahead of a hitter, what do you normally expect from him?
He, I've tried to teach him to, he growing up, he's caught a lot, and I tried to teach him growing up that you have to pitch and catch to the tune of opposite of what the hitter thinks.
Right.
Put yourself in the hitter's spot. If you're in there hitting and it's 2-2, now what do you think the pitcher's going to throw? If you think he's going to throw a fastball, throw a change, throw a curveball, or throw that fastball in the inside corner.
Right.
See, and that's what he did. He threw a fastball there. He missed his spot with it. He tried to get it on the inside corner.
Yeah.
So that's okay. But a lot of times it comes down to execution of those pitches, and he didn't execute that pitch. So then you put yourself in this spot, and then luckily you got a center fielder that can run a little bit, and plus the ball was hit right at him.
Right.
So, at least from a coach's standpoint, you look at that and you say, you made them put the ball in play.
Mm-hmm.
You give us a chance to catch, make a play.
Yeah, trust your field.
If you walk that guy right there, you can't do nothing about that.
Right.
So, I know I've been around Coach Gobert and the coaching staff long enough to know that, last night they beat Isaac, around in the ballpark, but they would much rather have that than have him go out there. I read in the paper tonight, I believe it was who was it? There was a game last night where –
Major league game?
No, it was a high school game around here where the batter walked like the first 7 hitters, I believe, in the game. It was DuBois and somebody played last night.
Mm-hmm.
And the DuBois pitchers walked like the first 7 batters, hit one, and your fielders, as a coach, you teach your fielders to be on their toes at all times. Well, when your pitcher's not throwing strikes, it's easy for them guys to just say, well, he ain't going to hit it.
Right.
And
it's almost like you get bored out there.
You do, and that's why you have to, as a pitcher, you want them to continue to throw strikes.
Yeah. Well.
And, obviously you can't throw strikes 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And you don't want to. So it's baseball pitching is a little, there's a 2-2 curveball. This is a leadoff hitter for him. So that's not necessarily a bad pitch. The execution wasn't the best. It was too far outside. The ball was never a strike.
Yeah. Oh, and he said that wasn't a strike either. Looked really close on that corner there, so he actually registers a walk. It was real close.
Yeah.
So Tucker Bevan, as you said, the leadoff hitter, will step on first base with 2 outs. And Cooper Bevan, which brothers, I assume?
Yes, they are.
So he'll step up to the plate for the second time. He struck out his first time up in the first.
They come from a good baseball family. I know their dad quite well and know that he's coached many, many Little League teams from up there. And I know we were talking on the break how good New Albany's Little League program is.
Right.
And it's finally showing, it's transpiring into their high school teams of getting better and better every year.
So Carter not able to hit the
and see
corner
there's
one.
If I'm catching or pitching there, it's no balls, one strike. I don't come back with another curveball. I'm gonna throw a fastball in a spot that I want it, probably on the inner corner of the plate, because as a hitter, he's probably thinking no balls, one strike. He's going to throw a curveball.
Right. So Carter, actually, this one gets away from the catcher, and so Bevan will run to second easily. So pitch in the dirt there.
Nothing Ross could do there. The ball hit the front of the plate, and it just bounced up over the top of everybody. Now you got your work cut out for you. You're two balls, one strike. You got the second hitter in the lineup, runner on second. This is what the coach wants to see what you're made out of right here. What are you going to do? Are you going to fold? You're going to go right at him? What are you going to do?
Well, he gets a pitch across there for strike two, so 2 balls, 2 strikes.
See right here with 2 balls, 2 strikes, this is the pitch you want to get him out on. You don't want it to go 3-2.
Right.
So this has to be a good pitcher's pitch, whatever that is. What pitch do you have working best today?
So he brings it, and it's actually going to be a routine fly ball there for Hope as he hauls it in. So
that's not bad.
Carter gets out of it, and Jasper remains on top 1-0 after 2.5 here on 18 WJTS. All right, we're back once again here at Alvin C. Ruxer Field as the Wildcats will step up with a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the 3rd inning. So Josh Weidenmiller, the leadoff man, will start things off. So the Wildcats at the top of the order. Weidenmiller grounded out in the first.
We got to get Josh going. We talked about it a little bit earlier there when he was up the first time, and he's our catalyst for this team. If we can get him and Grant going and get those guys on base, where the rest of them can move them around, we'll be a pretty good baseball team.
So he takes ball 1 there. And a little bit high there, ball 2.
You hear a lot of times announcers talking about pitchers being just wild enough to be successful. And I think this is kind of what this kid is here. Those first 2 pitches weren't close. Now he'll come back with this one probably right down the gut.
Yep.
A little bit high. But, he's just wild enough, I think, that it keeps everybody off balance. You're kind of nervous when you're in the box because you don't know where it's going to go.
All right, so 3-0 pitch right down the pipe there for strike 1. Now, actually, Trevor Croft in the first inning, he had a 3-0 count, and he was swinging away. I don't know if that's green light for him, but not for Josh here. So he actually takes ball 4. But usually you want your leadoff hitter to take that pitch, don't you?
Yeah. A lot of times Coach Gobert will let those guys on their own. He's got a sign that he'll give them if he wants them to take it. And some guys know that, 3-0, I'm not swinging, unless you're one of the guys that has the green light to swing on it. But
yeah. I think, again, Trevor's got home run power, too. So, especially when you're talking about 2 outs in that situation.
Yeah.
And this, he sees the right thing, swing away.
This right here, is something that Jasper baseball has been notorious for being good at. And we're struggling a little bit with this year, including my own son, and he and I have had this talk at home.
As far as moving runners in situations like this. Yeah.
Bunting. Jasper baseball that's always been a staple of our success. And we have just flat struggled with it.
Well, the situation right there, it's a pitch right down the middle, and he backs off.
Yeah, and now it's 0-2. And there's times, and I didn't watch for the sign that time, but there's times Coach Gobert will give the sign with 2 strikes. He don't care. Right there.
Yep.
See?
So Grant pulls back, though, and so he misses there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Trying to move the runner over there, Josh Weidenmiller, standing on first base right next to the first baseman, number 13, Caden Elliott.
And obviously, anytime you're bunting with 2 strikes, that's risky because if it's a foul ball, you're out.
Right.
So
So it gets Grant Albrand to strike out for the 2nd time tonight. Struck out swinging this time after looking the first time. So a first out for New Albany as Trevor Croft gets an opportunity with a runner on base. 1-0, Jasper leads here in the bottom of the third inning. Croft popped out to right field, as we mentioned, on a 3-0 count. First time up as he takes outside, ball one.
Trev needs to get a pitch he can drive, hit hard. Obviously, you don't ever go up there thinking of hitting a home run.
Mm-hmm.
You want solid contact. You want to barrel a ball up, and whatever happens with it. See that ball, that's a pitch that you've got to be able to explode after that. He was a little late. Obviously, he was a little under it to foul it off that way, but he's got to get to where he can just explode through the ball and try to drive it in a gap hard.
So pitch is there for strike two.
So this left-hand, this kid pitching, he does a very good job for a left-hander on throwing the ball on the inside portion of the plate against right-handers.
Mm-hmm.
That it shouldn't be hard to hit, but for some reason it normally is. Oh boy!
Josh is able to get back here quickly as the throw is a little bit high, but.
And the reason I say that, is he's left-handed, so the ball's coming from the left side of him, and it's coming all the way across.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting a look at it all the way coming into the inside corner. But
right.
Like we talked earlier, high school kids don't like to hit inside pitching most of the time. See, there was another one that was in there.
So he actually called that strike three, so Trevor strikes out, but the runner is able to steal second base, so Weidenbender standing on second now. So with 2 outs, Andrew Wallace will step up.
And I think that the catcher there was looking for interference on Trevor. When he struck out, he kind of walked out over the plate.
Yeah.
The catcher didn't really hit him, but he was kind of in the way. So I think that's what he was looking for there, for him to call Josh out at second for that interference.
And Wallace swings at the first one, fouls it off. Now, from a pitching standpoint, do you think a pitcher like a Stephen Tom or a left-handed pitcher like that likes to face left-handed hitters, you think?
I don't really know, but I would think you would, because your curveball is a completely different pitch to them because it's going away from them.
Mm-hmm.
They're used to a right-handed curveball that's coming into them.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to what I said earlier about you don't see that very often. You don't see the left-handed curveball. So, I'm sure, he probably likes that, to have that opportunity to face him.
So Wallace pops one out of play there. But, you were talking about before where high school hitters don't like to go after that inside pitch. So sometimes it seems like that's to their advantage because you're coming across the plate there.
Yeah, so, and I think that's just high school kids in general, that they don't like to hit the inside pitch because, there's a lot of different things have to happen when you have to hit an inside pitch. You have to, you got to get your hands through the baseball, and it's just, it can be a little bit tougher now.
And he gets another strikeout, so he's doing his job. Wildcats get one runner on, but 3 straight strikeouts leave him stranded. So after 3, Cats still lead 1-0 over New Albany here on 18 WJTS. Lead off for New Albany to start the 4th inning, so this is pretty well a battle on the mound right now. Carter Stom's got a no-hitter going for the Wildcats, and Tom, the pitcher for New Albany, has faced a couple tough situations, had bases loaded in the 2nd inning, but actually it was a balk, so really a mistake on his part that led to the Wildcat lone run tonight. But, boy, he's done an outstanding job. As Jason and I were talking, he struck out 6 of the last 7 hitters, so both these pitchers doing their job.
Yeah, and, you hear a lot of announcers and stuff talk about stressful pitches, and a lot of times that makes a big difference in a game, where the New Albany pitchers had a lot of runners on, and he's had to make a lot of stress pitches, to get guys out.
Right.
And so far, Carter hasn't had, a lot of those.
Right.
And at the time, that doesn't make a lot of difference, but as a game can wear on, it can make a difference.
Right.
So, here he comes out and gets himself in a hole, As a coach, and Coach Gobert, I know harps on that, is you got to, like we said earlier, you got to throw strikes and you got to get ahead of the hitter.
We actually got the hitter to pop up there, so an easy play for the left fielder. And Isaac Bartley hauls it in, so 1 away. Now stepping up will be the pitcher, Stephen Tom. And, that's the thing. I mean, Carter has faced at least one base runner each time, but hasn't been able to get out of it.
And Carter's been one that when he first started pitching when he was 8 or 9 years old, I took him to Coach Howard, who's down on the radio for pitching lessons. And Coach Howard had him pitch out of the stretch. And I said, well, what's the purpose behind that? And he said, well, in his opinion, and Coach Howard was a very good pitching coach, and he said that there's less movements with your body, less mistakes you can make. So he's always, as people I'm sure that are watching have noticed that he pitches out of the stretch all the time, whether there's a runner on base or not.
Until you said that, I didn't even notice.
And
you're exactly right.
And that's the only. He actually came home from practice one day, right when they started practicing, and he said that Coach Noblet, the pitching coach now, had him pitch out of the windup. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. He said he just wants me to try it. Well, I came out here the first night against Shakamak, and he started the game, and he pitched out of the stretch. And I came home that night, and I said, what's up? And he goes, I don't like it.
He didn't like it.
So he did away with it. And I just, there's a lot of people will tell you that you could throw harder out of the windup, but you'll also have good baseball guys and good pitching guys that will tell you that that's not true.
Okay.
You can throw just as hard out of the windup because at there's a certain point in, and I'll try to tell you when it is. It's right there, whether it's a windup or a stretch. You always get to that point right there. And, once you're to that point, that balance, they call it a balance point. And once you're to that balance point, you explode the home plate. So it doesn't matter how you get there, whether it's out of the stretch or the windup, you still get to that point. And that's what, Coach Howard said a lot of times kids will make mistakes before they get there, and they can't get to that point at the right time.
Okay.
So I think that's, one thing that's helped with him quite a bit.
Well, Carter's doing the job right here as he's still 1-2 on the hitters. A couple pitches fouled off there, but again, it just seems like he's just had outstanding control for the most part tonight here and almost through 4 innings. So no question about it that he's definitely comfortable in that pitching position. Steps off the rubber there.
And that's one thing, you try to teach young kids is, if you're not comfortable with the sign, you're not comfortable with something, step back because the game, it's not like any other game. The game can't go on until the pitcher throws the ball.
No question. So Dylan Clark strikes out there for the 3rd out. So Carter Stamm doing the job for the Wildcats. They still lead New Albany 1-0 after 4.5. We'll be back right after this. All right, so Carter Stamm's going to lead off for the Wildcats. Opportunity for him to help build on this 1-0 lead that the Wildcats have right now. But, talk about Carter's, basically as a hitter this year.
I don't say that he's struggling. Obviously, he's not up to where he wants to be and where I feel he should be. He puts in the time and the work on it, but
he just misses right there on the right field line, foul.
But see that, that's a pitch that, and it was on the inner half. And he kept his hands in and got the barrel there, but the barrel didn't get through. It pushed it to the right side. That's a ball in there. It needs to be yanked down the line because it was on the inner part of the plate. So, he's just got a few little things that he needs to keep working on. He does do a very good job of when he's at the plate. He has a good eye. He's played a lot of baseball, and sometimes he gets in a rut where he'll look for too perfect of a pitch. And I've had to tell him, you're dealing with high school umpires. They're not major league umpires.
No.
You sit there and watch a major league game and you think, how do those guys? It has to be
just
right there.
Yeah, you have a real small window.
So I said, you're not going to get every call when you're up there hitting. So I said, you got to be willing to swing at pitches that are borderline.
Right. He faces a 3-1 count here and actually takes it inside for ball 4. So Carter will be on base, and stepping up now, Jacob Albrand, who had a single in the 2nd inning.
And I believe Nathan Schmidt came in to run. Yeah, Nathan Schmidt came in to run
Okay.
for Carter at first base.
Got it.
For the courtesy runner for the pitcher. I believe this is Nathan's first action this year.
Of the season, really?
Yeah, I believe he was suspended for one reason or another.
Okay.
But I think this is his first game back where he could participate. So it's good to see him out there. He's a senior. You know, he's put in his time and done the things he needed to do to be a part of the program.
Sure. So Jacob Albrand takes a pitch outside and low there. So 1 ball, 1 strike.
That was a big hit out of Jacob a while ago. You know, I mean, for the most part, the whole group has been struggling somewhat. You know, he's definitely been struggling. You know, he had been in the 5-hole right behind Croft, and
Schmidt off to the races there and is able to get there for the stolen base. So good job, Aaron. Got a really good jump over there.
Yeah, he did. He did. You know, with a left-handed pitcher, and I didn't watch. You know, there's different ways that you can handle that with a left-handed pitcher. A lot of times they'll do what they call first movement.
Mm-hmm.
So the first movement that the pitcher makes, you go. Even if he throws it over there, it doesn't matter. It's a guessing game. I wasn't watching to see which move or which way he did it this time, but you know, back to what I was saying about Jacob. Jacob had been in the 5-hole behind, or I guess actually it would have been the 4-hole behind Croft,
Mm-hmm.
and had been struggling. And that's a tough spot because, you know, like we talked earlier in high school baseball, you assume your first 4 hitters are your better hitters. So
Right.
these guys, there he fouls one off his foot. Those hurt. But, you know, the pitchers pitch those guys a lot differently.
Right.
You know, and Jacobs has been struggling a little bit with that. You know, and I know I talked with his dad, Brad, and you know, and he's aggravated too, you know. But so I think Coach Gilbert now moved him to down a couple spots.
Right.
You know, he put Wallace up there. He moved Wally up above him and moved him down, and, you know, maybe he can relax a little bit and,
Mm-hmm.
and be able to hit the ball. So that's why I say it was nice to see him get that base hit a while ago.
Well, the bottom line is just nice to see him on the baseball field
It
after
is.
that just heartbreaking injury he had during the football season. Such a promise that he was expecting for his senior year.
Yeah, you hate that for any kid, you know, whatever sport it is or whatever they're doing. You know, they put in all the time and effort and practices and stuff.
Right.
And then go out and get injured. But hey,
We got a nice club there, and left fielder having a tough time seeing it, but he's taking him all the way to the track, so he's able to haul it in, and that would advance the runner Schmidt to third base. So a nice piece of hitting there.
That was. That's 2 balls that Jake's hit hard tonight, and that's good to see. I tell you what, that was a nice play by that left fielder because, you know,
Brutal.
third base and left field at Rooksher Field here is awful at this time of the night. And you can see him. I mean, he was out there fighting that sun. You can see his shadows like right behind him, so you know he's looking directly in it. And he did a nice job of going back and making the play.
It's a great opportunity with the Wildcat standing on third base with 1 out, and the Cats actually squares the bump there, and he actually gets hit. So Isaac Bartley will go to first base on the hit by pitch there. So Tom's looking over to the New Albany dugout. I don't know if he agreed with that or not, but regardless, the umpire moves him to first.
The umpires are going to get together. I think that what they're going to say is, did he attempt to bunt at it before it hit him?
Oh, okay, okay.
If you do that, it's a strike.
Right.
That as soon as
Regardless
you
if
attempt,
you get hit, right?
Exactly. As soon as you attempt, then after that it becomes you can't get hit by the ball, or you can, but you won't get your base.
Right.
So I think that's what they made. The decision was that he didn't attempt to bunt at it.
So actually, Chris McIntyre is the head coach for New Albany, is going to talk it over with the umpires. So now he's asking the base umpire to come in.
I think
They're not going to be able to change the call, though, right?
Well, they could, but I think New Albany's coaches is his discussion with this is that he had his bat out and never pulled it back. If you hold your bat out there, it's almost like an attempt to try to hit it.
You're staying, yeah.
And I think that's what he's saying. I don't know, but I'm
pull it
guessing
back,
that,
yeah.
you know, because when the ball hit him, his bat was still squared around like he was trying to bunt. He couldn't he couldn't move his body and the bat at the same time to get out of the way. So
but a judgment call, though, right?
It is. It definitely is.
Okay.
So they're not going to change it, but
no.
I think it was, it's a legitimate question
Right.
by their coach. So.
All right, so hit by pitch. It's the official score there. So runners on first and third right now for the Wildcats. Again, just one out. So now Jade Yoakum gets the opportunity to bring somebody in.
Like we talked earlier, this is the opportunity where you got to take advantage of this. Now you got runners on, less than 2 outs. You got to be productive with this out.
All right, so Tom will bring it, and there's contact there, an opportunity for the score, but they're going to go to the plate. And did he get there in time? Yes, he held on to the ball, and he said he is out. So nice defensive play there by the third baseman.
I believe
That's
it was
number 12, Cody Medley.
I believe it was the right call. That's a tough play. He was, third baseman made a nice play, made a nice throw. He threw the ball basically about the only place that he could for the catcher to catch it and tag at the same time. And there's a lot of times that's, Coach Gobert's one that will push the issue like that to make them make a play. And he did right there, and they made it, And you'd be surprised in how many times in high school baseball where that play's not made and that run scored.
Right.
That time New Albany did a good job, made the play, and did what they had to and got the out. So
now Eli Hope with runners on first and second. So actually score that 5-2 there, getting Schmidt out. So 1-0 ball game. Cats looking to expand that slim lead right now as the pitch is low for ball one.
And that's a situation too where that's a bang play. Schmidt didn't do anything wrong. He ran on contact. They executed the play, and you don't fault anybody for it.
Right.
Just a bad break, basically.
That's the thing with high school baseball too. I mean, baseball in general, but you want to take advantage of mistakes, but in that situation, it's like, hey, the execution is to try to score that run there.
That's exactly right.
So, it was a slow roller there, and many times at this level, they will make a bad throw. So you're kind of taking your chances there, aren't you?
And in that situation, Coach Gobert's over there at third base, and there's a base hit.
Base hit, nice solid hit by Eli, and that's going to score a run. Throw was cut off there by the third baseman, so Eli knocks in Bartley for the Wildcats' second run of the night. You love to see those RBI singles, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, anytime you can get a base hit with a runner on in scoring position like that, that's
two
huge.
outs.
Yeah, 2 outs, too. That makes it even that much better.
All right, so Josh Weidmiller now gets the opportunity with runners on first and second. Weidmiller 0 for 1 with a walk. Looks at strike one.
See, that's just a pitch that Whitey hasn't seen much this year, for the last few years is a left-handed curveball. That pitch was right down the middle. Should have been hammered, but you don't see it often enough to work, to practice hitting against it. So.
Right. All right, so 1 ball, 1 strike. The runners out there. Jade Yoakum at second base. Eli Hope, after his RBI single, stands at first. And a nice pop there by Bartley. So
definitely got good speed.
They're going to send him.
There's going to be a play here.
And that's an actually nice throw, but he's able to get there before the tag is down. So good hustle and good wheels there by Jade Yoakum to score that run.
And he did. He was under it. From up here you could see that pretty easy. That he tagged him up on the hip. And that let his leg get under it. But there again, that's just like we talked about a while ago about the execution. You want to force the issue, and that's what Coach Gobert's very good at that. He's going to get guys thrown out. I forget one game we had this year earlier. He got somebody thrown out at the plate, but you're betting against the odds that they're going to execute that perfectly. Right. So.
Yeah, it's definitely worth going for. There's no doubt.
Oh, there's no doubt. They always have that old saying or adage in baseball that you never want to make the first or third out at home, but you know, I don't play by that.
There's another one. So 3 straight hits for the Wildcats here, scoring runs. So 2 runs score this time. Eli Hope comes across, and now Josh Weidenbender. So the Cats open it up with 2 outs here. And 3 straight RBI singles. Eli Hope, Josh Weidenbender, now Grant Albrand coming up big there with 2 of them.
Now we just need to get Crofty on track right here with a good, nice, easy swing and just hit the ball hard and on a line somewhere. Whoa.
Pitch is way outside, but nothing. Oh, and actually a sweeping tag, and he misses him. Yeah, the fielder thought he had him.
Both of them. That looked funny because the second baseman and shortstop both threw their hands up at the same time, and it was like they were brothers, which they actually are, because it looked like they were just in sync with each other. Evidently, they thought they hit him, and from here, obviously, we couldn't tell. Grant made a very nice slide. He slid to the outfield side of the bag, and that's what gave him the opportunity to get in there.
So Trevor's got one in scoring position here as he looks at a strike there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cats with 4 runs across in this inning, 5 in the ball game, so they lead this ball game 5-0. 2 outs, runner on second. Trevor looks at one inside at the knees.
Trev's got to be up in the top 5 in hit batters in the history, history books of Jasper baseball, because he's like a magnet in there. Well, for one thing, he doesn't move a lot to get out of the way.
Right. So he swings and misses there. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, runner on second. 5-0 our score. So Tom pitching pretty well up until this point where the Wildcats are finally starting to tag him. I'm sure his pitch count's getting up there.
Yeah, we rattled him a little bit this inning. That's a good cut. You know, I mean, anytime you foul a ball straight back in baseball, it means your bat was right where it needed to be. It just wasn't on the plane with the ball. It was right there was a perfect example. I mean, from here you could just tell his bat was just under the ball just a little bit.
Right.
That's what's so great about the game of baseball. It's, you know, they talk about matter of inches, and that's what it is. I mean, that right there was, you know, half, 3/4 of an inch, and that ball's hit hard somewhere.
All right, so Trevor strikes out there, but the Wildcats are able to put 4 on, and they now lead New Albany 5-0 after the end of 4 innings here on 18 WJTS. Now with a 5-0 lead to work to start the 5th inning here, and we actually wanted to offer our condolences to the Ballinger family. Shirley Ballinger had passed away, and of course, you know, Todd we know real well, and Mike Ballinger, both outstanding athletes for the Wildcats over the years.
Great athletes to come through the high school here, and they, you know, you hate to hear that, obviously. I knew Shirley a little bit. I knew her husband a lot better, but yeah, obviously, anytime you hate to hear that, you know, the passing of someone, so pass our condolences, like you said, on.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. Todd Ballinger was closer to our age, just a year younger than us, and actually I played Little League all the way through with Todd. I was one of the younger guys in our class, so one of those situations. But, you know, and then, of course, Mike is just one of the best baseball players we've ever seen on his diamond.
He was one of the best athletes all around to come through Jasper. I mean, you know, obviously, if they'd had the three-pointer when he played high school basketball, who knows how many points he'd have had.
Yeah, it'd have been tougher for Lewis to break that record, I'm sure.
It was just phenomenal what he did and could do in high school basketball and, you know, football too.
Right.
And it was just – he was fun to watch.
He was. Baseball, he was a 3-time All-Star, I think, or 3-time All-State player. I think he was the first player to win it 3 straight years.
Yeah.
So actually, Cats get this
strike out there,
strike out and throw out there, so 2 now. But,
I remember that time when he was playing in the Indiana baseball or Indiana basketball All-Star team, and Jasper was still playing in the baseball, and they actually flew him in a helicopter to get him to the game on time.
Yeah, I remember that because actually I talked to Dan Dockich at a football game, an IU football game this year, and, Dockich was on that all-star team with Ballinger. They're in the same class there, and we talked about that a little bit. So a foul ball knocked away there out of play by Owen Tansky. So Carter's just moving right along here in this ball game, continues on.
Well, like we talked earlier, he's done a pretty good job of throwing strikes. If you get ahead 0-1, 0-2, 1-2, you can have some success. And that's, it's easier to sit here and say that than it is to go out there and do it, obviously.
Oh, yeah, no question. So that one's knocked foul as Owen Tansky stays alive. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
See, that's where now that was a fastball in the outer part of the plate. The hitter made an adjustment to foul it off.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where you have to come back inside and bust him with a fastball.
All right, so he gets one to chop, and that's going to be a tough play, and that may be the first hit of the ball game officially recorded by New Albany. So they didn't say anything before the inning started, but don't blame me to jinx them.
Yeah, and that's all fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, as a pitcher, you go out there and you do your job to put yourself or put your team in a position to win a game.
Right.
Those are personal accolades that are whatever. Yeah. But I guarantee you, these kids would rather go out there and end up with a win in this game than that.
Well, again, the thing is, actually, there's another base hit that's going to fall there. Just over the head of Josh.
This is where, as a pitcher, and we'll see what happens, but now you gave up your first hit. Now you give up a solid hit.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to bear down, and you have to go after this guy, which they're to lead off. So it's not going to be easy. But this right here is what shows coaches what you're made out of.
Right.
Do you get nervous now and not execute your pitches, or do you come back out and do what you need to do to get the third out?
Yeah, especially in a situation now you're facing the top of the order here as
That's
Tucker
right.
Bevan steps in. So you got your 8 and 9 hitter both get hits here.
Yeah, and one swing of the bat, and it could be 5-3.
Right.
Very easily. So, and this isn't a good start for it. You fall behind 2-0. Now it's an uphill battle.
So Tansky and Cyphers on second and first respectively as Carter gets the strike there. So 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Tucker Bevan reached on an error in the first inning, and slow roller there should be an easy play, but Weidenbender's going to have to go to first, and he's able to get the out there. So
it's a tough play. The runner's running right in front of you, and Josh did a good job.
All right, so Carter works himself out of that 2-out situation, and the Cats continue to lead 5-0 here on 18 WJTS. All right, so the Cats will continue to face Steve and Tom here in the bottom half of the 5th inning with a 5-0 lead. Wildcats 5 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors. New Albany no runs, 2 hits, no errors. So stepping up first for the Wildcats to lead off will be Andrew Wallace, who is 0 for 1 tonight. He's got a walk. Struck out looking there in the 3rd.
I believe Josh Whitey's down in the bullpen throwing a little bit.
And that's the thing. The Wildcats have used, of course, Carter Stom, Bartley, Croft, Berger, Weidenbender, and Cam Killian.
Cam Killian has been a very nice surprise this year. He went down there against Wrights and threw the ball well. He came in last night against Castle after Castle had been, pounding the ball a little bit and shut him down a little bit. Cam's been, like I said, obviously he's in Carter's class, so I followed him, the whole time, and I always knew he could pitch. But he gets out there and he competes, and that's what Coach Gobert wants. He wants kids that are going to go out there and battle and fight and compete.
Well, that's also the thing with a lot of these kids whenever they get to the high school level, because I tend to see them in their younger years, with the rookie leagues and the minor leagues that I've been involved with, with Jasper Youth Baseball. But, because you and I, we coach the 10-year-old All-Stars together as Wallace slices one foul there, but it's great to see these kids continue on and develop.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I know you see a lot more because obviously Carter's at that same class.
To be involved with the youth baseball program like both of us are, and what's fun now is, your kids are out of it, so you can just sit back and watch the kids, and there's not as much pressure or stress, involved with it. So it's fun to do that, and it's kind of like basketball too. Where I coach the 6th grade basketball team, and it's really fun to get to do that when you don't have a kid involved, because it's just you enjoy doing what you're doing.
And there's a lot of work involved, when you're talking about being the president of a league like that, and all those kids. I mean, how many kids we have out this year? It's like,
I think there was right around between 300 and 400. I think
that's amazing
in the Jasper Youth Baseball program. We had a good turnout tonight. We had a rough count, swing and a miss there by Wally, but he battled. But we had a rough count tonight of probably 250 kids here.
Oh, that's amazing.
And that's great.
That's a great turnout.
There's a great crowd tonight. For a Friday night, it's amazing that how well the program is supported. Throughout every year, year in and year out, you can come up to Rooksher Field and see a big crowd up here especially on Friday nights and things like that. And these we were talking earlier about how lucky these kids are to have a facility like this, but not only the facility, but the community support.
Right.
It's if people are watching this on TV and have never been out, they need to come up here and experience it in person, because it's a great feature that these kids have the opportunity to do.
I'll tell you what, we've also been pretty fortunate so far in this baseball season. No rainouts yet.
This
so
year,
getting everything in.
This year, actually, Susan Albrand and I were talking about this earlier, about how this year has been so much different than last year. Last year it was cold, it rained. You just had a lot of nasty nights.
It was a mess.
And this year, we've been very fortunate. I mean, we've had nice nights like this. I mean, it's just in April to 12th. You don't end up with nights like this very often in April.
I'm just going to actually check here and check the weather since this morning, so it's still saying rain and 52, but that's not the case, obviously.
No, it's been, once that rain moved out of here earlier.
All right, so Carter Stamm does a great job there at the plate. Gets another walk, so he has been on 3 times. And actually, are they allowed to bring Schmidt back in? Is that him?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so
Schmidt's running for Carter at first again. Again, that's in high school baseball, you can run for the pitcher and the catcher.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Yeah, that's basically a free substitution that you can use, and they do it basically for a couple of reasons. One is more so to help speed up the game, especially the catcher, because obviously
he's got to get the gear.
If with 2 outs and he's on base, then it takes longer for him to get suited up and ready to go.
It also gets another kid in the ball game too.
It does.
I mean, most teams have,
a lot
15
of
players or so.
A lot of teams you'll see they'll carry a kid that he really doesn't have a lot of baseball skills, but he's really fast. And that's all the kid does.
Pinch run.
Yeah. And like you said, it gives that other kid an opportunity.
And that's the thing too. It's like, kind of look back the years. Yeah, everybody wants to be a starter and all that, but there's just so many ways in a baseball game that you can contribute. And you just have to have that kid with the right mentality that he's willing to.
Yeah.
That.
I mean, everybody's not going to be a superstar out there. It's definitely a team game, and it takes 12, 13 guys that are willing to do what they have to do to make your team successful.
All right, so 2 straight walks there as Albrand now walks. So 1 out with runners on first and second. So Isaac Bartley with another opportunity here. He was hit by a pitch last time, but he did score in that 4th inning.
That's about, I think Carter went 3-1, and that was 4 straight to Jake, and then here's another one. So he's struggling a little bit out there. Throwing quite a few pitches. But again, he's a senior. He's been around a while. I'm sure he's pitched quite a few varsity games. So You know, obviously New Albany's got a lot of faith and confidence in him. They haven't had anybody warm up yet.
Well, what's your opinion right there? I mean, obviously the pitch was there, but do you want him taking that pitch? Because he actually swung away with.
You know, that's a situation where you have to have confidence in your hitter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to say, I believe he's only going to swing if it's a strike.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, as a coach, you know your hitter's better than anybody. So if you feel like Isaac in that example, you know, has a good eye, that he's only going to swing if it's a strike.
Well, and he ends up swinging and missing at 3 straight pitches there, so Isaac not able to take advantage. So 2 outs now.
See, that's a perfect example there, though, of an experienced pitcher. You know, he'd walked 2 straight guys, fell behind Isaac 2-0, and then come back and threw 3 straight strikes. You know, so that's an example of a kid that's, you know, he's got some mound presence, and he did a very good job.
So now Jade Yoakum steps up. Actually hit into that to a fielder's choice last time up, and just misses hitting him on that inside pitch.
Yeah, that was close.
So 1 ball. Jasper leads 5-0 here, bottom of the 5th. And
that's a good
one
cut.
that's fouled back.
Right there, you know, I mean, he swung at a strike, and that, you know, and that's Coach Gobert's one of his big things. You know, when you're in there hitting is swing at strikes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously, you know, hitting is one of the toughest things in sports. You know, if you shoot 30% free throws, you're not doing very good.
No.
If you complete 30% of your passes in football, that's not very good. But you hit.
Wait, what are you talking about?
You get, yeah. If you get 3 hits out of 10 in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's
then,
great.
Yeah, you're a star then.
Yeah. So
yeah, that is funny how as far as the percentages
you know,
in different sports.
And that's the thing when you're coaching young kids in baseball, you know, they think they're going to get a hit every time they go to the plate, and you have to reinforce to them that, you know, hey, you're not going to get a hit every time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, watch a major league player. There's never been a history of a major league player that's went through the whole season without striking out.
Oh, no question.
You know, it happens.
It does.
So.
All right, so strike 3 there. So Tom's able to work out of the trouble there with 2 runners getting on with base on balls. But the Wildcats continue to lead 5-0 after 5 here on 18 WJTS. Croft is now on the mound for the Wildcats, so he will come in here in the 6th inning, top of the 6th. Couple changes, so Carter goes to third base, Carter Stom, and that moves Wallace over to first. So no changes in the actual batting order for the Wildcats there, but just a couple positional switches.
Changes.
So Cooper Bevan, number 1, will look at a curveball for a strike. Bevan struck out in the first, flew out to center in the 3rd. Looking to get on base for the first time here against Trevor as he takes 1 low.
Trevor's done a nice job on the mound this year. You know, I mean, Trevor, you know, obviously watching him growing up, you know, he pitched well when he was young. And then, you know, he had a little arm trouble there for a little bit and kind of got away from pitching.
Right.
You know, and then this year they kind of got him back into pitching mode, and he's done a very good job. I mean, you know, obviously he's got some bloodline in the pitching aspect with his dad, Todd. You know, Todd was a very good high school pitcher. You know, he was a couple years older or younger than us. But I played baseball at USI with Todd, and Todd was a very good pitcher. He was a bulldog on the mound, and Trevor couldn't be that way if you know. It's a shame that he had the arm problems that he had, because I think he could have been a very good pitcher if he would have been able to continue pitching.
Right.
So,
what type of injury was he dealing with?
I think it was more of like a growth plate thing, I think, than anything real serious. But
okay. All right, so he actually walks the first batter there, Cooper Bevan. So
that's not the start you want.
The first time. No.
But you know, again, here's where a deal. You know, you're a senior. You got to settle back down now and go after this hit or that one. You know, and when I coach, you know, one thing I always try to tell your pitchers is that's over with. You can't do anything about it. Now, how do you come back? You know,
right.
Do you come back now and get a ground ball, double play, get an out? But you know, you can't let things snowball. So.
All right, so Cody Medley steps up, 0 for 2 tonight. Pitch just misses outside there for ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Cooper Bevan on first base after the walk. Jasper with a 5-0 lead here, top of the 6th. Trevor in the dirt there.
Trevor's struggling a little bit. He's just got to find his release point. You know, pitching is all about your release point. It's a thing where you have to find that release point and repeat it. You know, and until you find that, you can struggle, and that's what Trevor's going through right now. You know, and their pitcher went through it a while ago. You know, a couple times too, and it's just you just have to work through it. Basically, is all you can do.
So 2 runners on now with 2 straight walks. Cody Medley on first, Cooper Bevan on second. Now stepping up will be the pitcher Stephen Tom. Tom grounded out in the first, flew out in the 4th. Trevor inside with that pitch.
He's just struggling a little bit, you know, and that's part of the game. You know, you have to work your way through that, and
he's having a tough time finding the plate there as he's inside on both those first 2 pitches.
And you know, baseball's like any other sport. You got to make an adjustment, you know, and he's got to figure out what he's doing wrong and make that adjustment so that he can throw strikes.
So he nicks that corner there, so he continues to work the inside. 2 balls, 1 strike.
But it's inside on this guy because he's left-handed. You know, before they were outside because they were all, you know, he's throwing everything in about the same spot.
Right. All right, so that one's actually chopping. It's going to go foul. So evens the count 2-2. A double play ball would be good here, especially going to third base. If Carter can step on the bag, but he looks like he's more of a pull hitter, this left-handed hitter.
I would say so. Batting 4th in the lineup, I'd say he's probably a very good hitter, obviously. So
well, he continues the battle, Trevor here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fouls a couple off.
Yeah, you just got to find an out here in this situation somehow.
Man, he misses on that one, a little bit low in the dirt. 3 balls, 2 strikes, so full count with runners on first and second. Jasper up 5-0. Trevor looking for that first out here in the top of the 6th. And he gets it with a swing and a miss, so good job there by Trevor to get that down. What'd you call that? Was that a changeup a little bit, or what do you think?
It looked like it might have been something because it didn't look like it was a fastball, but again, it was on the inside part of the plate against the left-hander.
Right. Looked like it threw his timing off a little bit.
Yeah.
So first out. Stepping up, number 10, Dimwin Clark. Into a double play. First time up, struck out. He pops one up, should be a play for the right fielder. So here comes Albran in. Jacob hauls it in. Runners will stay. So Trevor, 2 pitches, 2 outs now.
That's a good job of coming back, throwing a strike right there, trying to get ahead. And guy didn't get around on it. He's a little bit late, popped it up the right field. So here's, again, like we talked earlier, here's where you got to be careful because you've got 2 outs now. You can't let your guard down and make a bad pitch and give up a hit or something where you shouldn't.
He delivers, and he actually gets the outside corner there for strike 1.
Everything he's thrown has been on the outside or on the right-hand side of the plate. That's an adjustment that, ooh,
Elliott with a shot right up the middle. So that should score a run. It's going to be a cutoff, but we got a play over there at third. Carter Trees has got a man on a run down and was able to get him out. So
very good job there by Wally. The shutout's gone, but at this point you don't really care. You're trying to win a game, and Wally knew he had that guy hung up, and he took the out. So,
all right, so New Albany's on the board. So as we go to the bottom half of the 6th inning, Jasper leads 5-1 here on 18 WJTS. All right, as we get set for the bottom of the 6th inning, some changes here for New Albany. Got a new pitcher on the mound. That's Dylan Clark, number 10. He moves from right field to the pitcher's spot. And that moves Stephen Tom to first base, right?
Yep, the pitcher went to first, and we got a new right fielder in the lineup.
All right, so James Gill, number 7. And he will bat in Caden Elliott's spot, who actually got a base hit last time up. So that will move him to the pretty well bottom of the lineup, I guess, when you're talking about them coming around.
Yeah, and that's probably part of the reason they made that move.
Right. All right, so James Gill in for defensive purposes as a curveball misses there. And the Wildcats at the plate, Eli Hope. So you get in this situation, 5-1 here, bottom of the 6th. You stay aggressive, or what do you do as hitters right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you got a new pitcher in there, so you want to make sure he's going to throw strikes. Once you see that he's got that established, then you want to stay in the attack mode. Obviously every little run now is huge,
right?
Because that's 2 more they got to get in the bottom or in the top of the 7th. So, it's big here if you can tack on a runner. So,
the Hope works at 3-0 and looks at strike 1. So now also from a hitter standpoint, now you're facing a right-hander after getting used to a left-hander for 5 innings.
It's a different, obviously there's a different release point now because it's on the opposite side of the mound. So it takes a little bit of getting used to, but high school kids they don't really realize a lot of that sometimes.
We overanalyze things up here. Nice poke there if that can get through, but actually nice job defensively getting over there. Right. Is James Gill, the right fielder, so he hauls it in.
Eli hit the ball well, though. I mean, he worked the count, got the count to a good hitter's count there, and hit the ball hard. Caleb Berger looks like he's batting for Weinbender, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd say he's just pinch hitting because they got Whitey down in the bullpen warming up. So
right.
I'd say they felt like it was more important to get him loose and ready to pitch than to hit in this spot. So I'd say that's why Coach went ahead and utilized a pinch hitter here.
All right, so Caleb works the count to 1-1 right now. And looks at a curveball cross for strike 2.
This guy's got a nice little curveball. He not afraid to use it.
Clark brings the fastball, and Berger's not able to connect, so
tied him up a little bit. He got it up and in on him, and Caleb didn't know whether to swing or not swing. And
all right, so with 2 outs now, Grant Albrand steps up. So now you got Dylan Clark facing the lefty. Grant swings and fouls first pitch off. 5 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors for the Wildcats. New Albany, 1 run, 3 hits, and no errors. Grant Albrand has one of those 5 hits for the Wildcats, and RBI, actually 2 RBIs knocked in the 4th inning. Looks at inside pitch there for ball 1.
Baseball's a funny sport because, when you're in there hitting, it's a matter of getting in there and getting comfortable, and once you do, you start, the ball looks like, there's times when you can get in there and that ball looks like a beach ball coming in, like you can hit anything, and that's what happens when you get comfortable in there. So there's a nice pitch.
He drops in that curveball for strike 3. So 2 straight strikeouts for Dylan Clark. Finishes the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors for the Wildcats. 5-1, Jasper going into the 7th inning. We'll try to close it out here on 18 WJTS. Bender on the mound for the Wildcats, trying to close it out here in the 7th inning. And Jason, I'll let you tell the changes. You were paying attention a little bit better than what I could come up with.
Well, basically the lineup changes is Noblet took Trevor Croft's spot. The rest of them are positional changes. They moved Wallace. Wallace goes back from he was at third, went to first when Croft pitched. Now he's back at third. Carter Stom went from third to short.
Okay.
So, and then Phillips Noblitz at first now. So
there's a ground ball for Wallace. Should be routine. Throws over to first, and a good job by Philip Noblitz to scoop that up for the first out. So they retire Patel, and that will bring up Tanksky.
Phillips got nice hands at first. You know, I mean, Phillips been one of those kids that, you know, has moved around coming up through the system. You know, he's played some third. He caught a lot. You know, last year he basically missed his whole junior season because of a back injury.
Right.
So, you know, coming into this year, he really didn't know what was going to happen, and he's a welcomed addition at first base because, like I said, he's got nice hands on a ball just like that. That's not easy to do. He come off the bench and made a nice play there.
Right. So one out. Josh Weidenmayer with a 2-0 count on the hitter and fly ball there. And Eli was coming in initially, then backs up, hauls it in for out number 2. So
Josh has done a good job. You know, I mean, he's come in, he's throwing strikes. You know, Josh was one of these guys, again, he didn't get the opportunity to pitch much because he was such a good shortstop.
Right.
And Coach Gobert really couldn't move him off a short because they didn't feel comfortable putting anybody else there.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, you know, they feel like they have an option maybe to let him be able to pitch more. So he's come in and throwing strikes. That's the key. You know, I mean, you got a 4-run lead. The only way they're going to beat you is if we boot the ball or if we walk guys.
Right.
And he's taking care of his part of it.
Ooh, actually gets a nice curveball, and to see if it's going to drop it just foul. So a little change up on his speed there.
Yeah, I had the guy out front on his front foot.
So Christian Cyphers comes back to the plate facing an 0-2 count right now. So you know, I guess with a 5-1 lead, you don't really get credit for the save, but still, you know.
No, you don't.
Come in and close out ball games like this.
You know, and again, you know, those are personal statistics that you have. And
oh, a beautiful pitch though to finish the ball game.
I don't know what that hitter was looking for, but it was right down the middle, and he just kind of stood there and looked at it.
So Josh Weidenmayer with an outstanding relief performance there with 3 up and 3 down. And the Wildcats with a big 5-1 win here. 5 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors for the Cats. 1 run, 3 hits, and no errors for New Albany. Outstanding pitching all night from Carter Stom. Trevor Croft came in the 6th, and Josh Weidenmayer finished it in the 7th. So, Jason, what are your thoughts on the Cats coming back after a tough loss last night and how they played today?
This was a good win for them. You know, like you said, they come back after a tough game last night, you know, on the road at Castle. It was, you know, obviously not what they wanted to do when they went down there, but to be able to rebound and come back with a game like this tonight against a very good New Albany team. I mean, New Albany's, you know, they were right up there with honorable mention, I think, in the 4A poll with us. You know, we were right there with them.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime, you know, you can beat a team of that caliber, it's a good win. So, you know, it's to come back after a tough loss to pick up a win, that's always good.
Right. Well, and the other thing, too, I mean, as far as the Wildcats in that 4th inning coming up with 4 big runs, but the nice thing about those 4 runs, they were on RBI singles, weren't they?
They were. You know, it was a case where we took care of our own business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, we went in there and we hit the ball and we put the ball in play and did the things we needed to do. So I think that, you know, from that standpoint, it was very good. It wasn't like New Albany. I mean, obviously New Albany didn't have any errors, so they didn't kick the ball around. They didn't give us anything. I mean, we went out and earned what we got. And you know, from a coaching standpoint, that's always nice to see that you can do that. And like I said, that's big, and that's a nice win for the program and for these kids. You know, it'll give them a little confidence, I think, to show them that they can play with some good teams. I mean, you know, you got to kind of throw last night's game out of the wash. You know, Castle's got a very nice club, but you know, we've shown that we can compete with a lot of teams that we've played this year,
mm-hmm.
and done the things we need to do to keep ourselves in the ball game. I mean,
well, and that's the thing. I mean, what is it, 3 sectional opponents we are, or 3 sectional teams, I guess, that we've already played so far, right?
Right.
Has it been? Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking
We played Central and we played
Central Rights and Castle.
And Castle, yeah.
Okay.
So, we've played all those guys, and and obviously, they do things in baseball is a lot different than other sports. A lot of times you don't pitch your better pitchers or what you feel are your top pitchers against sectional opponents.
Yeah.
That way, when you get to the sectional, they haven't seen them.
Right.
So, obviously with the 3 wins that we've had against our sectional opponents, we haven't pitched what you might say are our top 3 pitchers or whatever against those guys. So it's big that you can get the wins against those teams, playing against or having pitchers pitch that aren't your top pitchers.
Right.
And like I said earlier, Cam did an outstanding job against one of them with Wrights. And last night against another sectional opponent in Castle, things obviously didn't go the way you want them, but you learn from it, and you move on. And I think a lot of times there's good losses and then there's bad.
Right.
And I wouldn't consider last night's loss to Castle that bad.
Right.
It was a learning experience for us, and that's as a coach, that's what you stress. I think I've always been a coach that when I've coached, I've always said that if you learn from your mistakes and you don't make them again or you improve from them, it's not so bad. And obviously it looked like tonight we learned from things that we did wrong last night,
right,
and came out and took care of business. So.
Well, you mentioned Cam Killian a couple times tonight, and you promised you're going to mention Mike Killian too.
Yes,
right?
I did. I saw Mike Clubby Killian in the stands earlier. He was a classmate of ours in school, and Clubby's a great guy.
Right.
We have a lot of fun together, and I did mention that I would mention his name on the air, so I'm going
to mention Clubby. Clubby, I'm going to keep you off the list, and he knows what I'm talking about.
Okay, all right, but it's a lot of fun.
All right, well, Jason, great job tonight. You had to do double duty as president of the Jasper Youth Baseball Organization, keep things under control there, and outstanding job calling the game tonight. So thanks for your help, because I need it.
Thanks for the opportunity, Craig. Like I said when we were doing basketball games, that it gives you a different perspective to sit up here and do this as opposed to sit. I always sit down the right field line and to have the opportunity to sit in the press box and watch my son pitch from up here.
Yeah, see the pitches, yeah.
It's a lot different than watching it down there, and it's a lot more I don't know that it's a lot more fun, but it's a totally different game.
Look, yeah.
So I appreciate the opportunity to get to do this. So.
Well, I'm sure you're welcome in the press box anytime you want. So, or go upstairs and stand with Judd up there.
Yeah, if it gets warm enough, I'll go up there, because that's a great view from up there.
Oh, it is.
I watched last year when we hosted the regional here. Obviously, we weren't playing in it, but we had the opportunity to host it because I believe Lagoti's light poles blew over or something.
That's right.
So we hosted the regional along with the semi-state, and I was up there, for those games, and that's a great view from up there.
Yeah, it is. All right, so Jason, thank you very much. Jason Stom and also Jeremy Marcos upstairs on the video, doing a great job as always. Kirk Guxa will be back with WJTS as the Wildcats will face Heritage Hills, which I believe is Monday night.
That is
April
Monday
15th,
night. Yep.
Tax Day.
And that's down at Heritage Hills. And Heritage Hills has got a good ball club. We'll have to go down there and be ready to play and take care of business, because it'll, it's not going to be an easy game.
Right.
So.
Well, it's the night that also Jeremy upstairs is probably the one night he's not cheering for Jasper, I bet.
Yeah, probably not.
He's a Heritage Hills graduate.
Yeah, so he'll be rooting for Heritage Hills. As long as he keeps his mouth shut, we'll be all right.
Absolutely. So the Wildcats improve to 8-1 on the season. New Albany falls to 7-4. The Wildcats win tonight 5-1 here on 18 WJTS. So for Jason Stom and for Jeremy Marcos on the video, my name is Craig Schneider. Everybody have a great night. Good night.